Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Rob. And just a little introduction on me. Mike Chuidian, I've been here at ServiceNow for a little over 2 years, supporting actually Rao's organization, ATG. I know Rao well, currently work with him right now. I'm building the Gen AI teams here and really excited about that. Ralph, you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and let the people know what you do here at ServiceNow.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Mike. Folks, Rao Surapaneni, I lead our AI technologies part of the platform. I've been with ServiceNow for about 9 years, led a variety of application platform areas, most recently running our AI organization. And definitely enjoying and doing what we are doing with generative AI and some amazing products and features to be released actually this week.
Love it. Love it. Well, I'd like to start this fireside chat off with a video, Rao, if you don't mind, just kind of showcasing and highlighting some of the things that we're doing with Gen AI. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And hopefully we got the sound and the video going here.
The future of ServiceNow and generative AI is very bright. Generative AI will totally transform our daily experience of using the ServiceNow platform and applications built on top. With a lot of work and a lot of cross-country collaboration, generative AI does not respect organization boundaries, and so anything that you want to do, automate things across all the teams and almost every department.
We're also shifting the company culture and mindset to launch and learn, which is how the AI products get better.
We need research to help us understand and to create new ideas. Engineering and design. Take those ideas into things that have value for our customers. And we need sales and marketing to make it real. We'll be continuing to announce major releases, but we will deliver continuously to our customers. Why not do releases or even more rapidly as the AI?
So this what will allow our customers to have easy access to information and really benefit from these exciting capabilities on a month-to-month basis.
Wow, what an awesome video. I am so excited to be here at ServiceNow, to be a part of this growth that we're experiencing pretty much every year, it seems like, but really, really excited to be a part of building and helping Rao and his team build this Gen AI team that they're putting together, and it's definitely an honor. So I am honored also to be here with Rao, even though I work with you every day. I am definitely excited to get this chat going and talk about AI, right? So Rao, we're hearing a lot about AI, right? A lot of different AI terms, including, the most popular one, which is Gen AI. Can you tell us a little bit more specifically what Gen AI is? And then maybe kind of give us some color as to, what is the hype? Is it real, and how should we be able to think about it? So I know it's a loaded question, but hopefully you can give us a good answer on that.
Yeah, definitely start with a little bit of a high level on it, considering the diverse audience we have. Generative AI, some of the underlying technologies have been around for a while in the AI field. ChatGPT definitely put it all together, crashed into the public consciousness on what it means through a simple application that everybody can use, and brought the capabilities of the technologies to the fore. Now, it has its current limitations and where it applies well and where it works well. But it is real. So the generative AI, the AI capabilities have been around, but this definitely passes the Turing test to get to that next level of what we can do with it. One way to think about it is like, even if there is a tremendous hype, tremendous expectations out of it, even if you get to 10% to 20% of that expectation, it will still change the products and especially the enterprise technology for good. Another way I talk to my kids about the analogy is self-driving cars. The promise of self-driving cars has been around for a while, but the tools, the technologies that make it happen will improve the life along the way. So you have a much better adaptive cruise control. You have a self-parking. Under constrained conditions, these experiences can give you delightful experiences. So even if you're not getting to the fully self-driving automated car, the path to it leads you to some delightful experiences. Similarly, in an enterprise or in generative AI, finding the right areas where we can apply it, where the technology is ready, where we can build an experience around it, you can make immediate difference to our users, to our customers, and deliver value to them.
I love it. I love it. I use ChatGPT on pretty much a weekly, sometimes daily basis to help with some of the mundane tasks, that comes along with recruiting and sourcing and things. But, I think, one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, how is ServiceNow leveraging Gen AI to kind of empower our customers?
Yeah, that's something we look at it always. Right? So Gen AI is amazing, interesting technology, but ultimately it comes back to who are our users, what are we trying to deliver for them. That North Star of improving the life of our users, whether you're an employee of a company or an end customer of our customer, or an admin using the ServiceNow platform, or a developer building on top of ServiceNow platform, we look at those users. What are the tasks that they are doing today? Can we help them be more efficient? Can we help them be more productive? So we look at it as, how can we combine AI with the workflow platform that we have and deliver amazing and awesome experiences to drive those business metrics and the business goals. So we look at it as, how can we combine the workflow and AI to deliver value?
Got it. I love it. And so with that being said, how are we specifically using Gen AI on our ServiceNow platforms?
So some of the examples I can share, we look at our users as primary users are our employees of an enterprise customer. When you as an employee, you're searching for something. When you're searching for information, whether it is your benefits information or how to reset my password, today, a lot of applications provide a simple search and a list of links. When a user, it's on you to go through that cognitive load, to go through the link, understand what is needed. You may go through it and do self-service, or you may simply say, I need to talk to an agent, I need to talk to the help desk, and then get my issue resolved. By using generative AI, we can actually extract the right information, precise information succinctly, and provide that to the user. Now the odds and the probability of self-service goes up by a lot. That for a user is resolution quickly. For a company, that is less cost, less overhead that they need to deal with. That's on the employee side.
Sure.
Now as an agent, there could be multiple tickets, multiple issues that they're dealing with. Especially for the long issues, there's multiple back and forth going on. If you can summarize that content and help them grok what's going on and then get to the answer and get to the resolution faster, now suddenly the agent is more productive. You can help them along their way, they can solve more, and again, the employees are much more happier because their issues are resolved faster.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So those are some of the examples. And we also look at our developers. People have seen the co-pilot like experiences where you type in a comment or a prompt and it generates a snippet of a code. So you kind of take out some of the more mundane tasks of writing code out of developer's hands. You'll still need to go through it to validate and verify, but the more simplistic tasks are out of the way, and you can be developing faster and building applications faster for your company.
I love it. I love it. It's kind of like because I use ChatGPT to help me write messaging, right? And
Yep.
specific messaging. And I think it does a pretty good job um, of giving me what I need in order to convey an effective message. But, sometimes, there may be some adjustments that you may need to make. I need to make. Maybe something isn't really reflecting like my personality or whatnot. So I think, and I think the argument with Gen AI and doing this kind of stuff is the human element. I don't think it's quite there. It's good. It's really good. I don't think it's quite there yet in terms of the human element and being able to show empathy, right? And so, but I think it's getting better. I'm pretty sure it'll get there, soon. So, but yeah, I wanted to ask you. I know that we have several use cases within Gen AI that we're currently, working on, and one of them is Sales Assist, which I know a bit about. Can you tell us a little bit more about how we're using Gen AI, in our Sales Assist feature within our Now platform?
Yeah, so we have been deploying Gen AI in various use cases, and we've incorporated a lot of our knowledge on how we equip our sales teams across variety of products and how to talk about it, how to demonstrate the value and provide that information at their fingertips. Now, when a sales engineer or account manager wants to understand more about a customer or about a product, we provide all of that information at their fingertips, and they can, instead of scouring through the latest content from a different team and for a different sources, even within the company, it's all now available in one place. They can quickly and interactively refine what the content that they want to procure and populate and then have the follow-on conversation with the customers. Definitely it has provided a accelerant to bring on new sales folks and help them understand the products as well, and then prepare them for those customer conversations.
That's awesome. I would love to deploy something like that within talent acquisition. It'd be awesome.
There's lots of other products addressing all of the enterprise scenarios. Definitely HR and talent is one of those upcoming scenarios that we're looking at. Yeah, we might get it into your hands sooner than you think. So.
Let's go. I'm excited about that. Let's go. That's pretty awesome. So I mentioned that I'm a, pretty avid, ChatGPT user. There are some things that I noticed and some of the risks in, domain question answering. How are we addressing these risks and how will it affect the performance of our platforms from a Gen AI perspective?
Yeah, so I alluded towards the current limitations and how responsibly we should use it. People are familiar with hallucination, right? So it could vary from a very innocuous, simple thing to, in an enterprise setting, somewhat uncomfortable if we give wrong answers to an employee, right? So one way we address that by first and foremost, we focus on trust. Another way we look at it is based on the current state of technology, we prioritized for human in the loop scenarios first. So our upfront coming up release is primarily focused on the agent scenarios where you have a agent, usually an expert human in the loop, where they're the ones actually looking at the summaries. They're the ones who are verifying or confirming that the summary is accurate and using that in their interactions with the user. When they write up a summary, they're using the product as an assist. That's a brand name for our product, Now Assist, for various scenarios. We still are focused on helping the human in the loop and using an assistive model, so that they're generally more productive and faster in their activity. In addition, we have invested heavily in making sure both the inputs and the outputs have moderation capabilities. We understand what can trigger a hallucination. We verify something, we score the outputs based on their potential for hallucination. And then we err on the side of caution, where we prefer to give a no answer instead of giving a possibly hallucinating answer. So we look at the full spectrum of the input, the processing, and the output in making sure we provide the most trustworthy answers that we can provide.
It's awesome. That's awesome. Wow, that's great. Rao, we know that AI is kind of transforming the ways that we work and in how we work, both big and small. Can you tell us more about some of the ways that AI is kind of reshaping the way we work, from enhancing individual productivity to optimizing entire systems and processes?
Yeah, generative AI and it is exposed to the users definitely democratize the use of AI. I know that's an overused phrase, but it truly made the capabilities of this powerful technology simply accessible through APIs. And the best API is natural language text. You hear
Yes.
the term of prompt engineering, where anybody can interact with the model, anybody can interact with the technology and elicit the right responses, as long as they're open to experimentation and understanding how you converse with the solution. That is a leap from where we were, where AI was generally the domain of scientists and the engineers and lots of advanced technologies. Now you can see my high school students using it for help. You can see a lot of these copyright, where you're producing the initial draft of something, maybe a job description, right? Maybe a cover letter, if you're talking in the talent acquisition parlance. So there's lots of these abilities that are exposed through simple interaction modality, where you can actually use it for a real use case. I can see that as generally available out there. Now, coming into the enterprise, I talked about the employee scenario. I talked about the agent scenario, where you're helping them do their job faster and better, and thus driving the customer value.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. There's a lot of talk right now because the insurgence of Gen AI, particularly GPT. We're seeing a lot of, not a lot, I would say there's a pretty thin talent pool out there for Gen AI. But if we talk about AI in general, there's quite a bit of talent out there, right? We here at ServiceNow have some of the brightest tech talent that we could have, especially in a time like this. What are some key attributes that you and your teams look for in general from an AI talent? Like, what are those intangibles too that you're looking for?
Yeah, great question. So I'll start with specifically for the AI part of the group, and then I'll talk about in generally how do you leverage this technology in the application or the other platform areas. For AI, the principles and the techniques have been around for a while, right? So the foundation definitely helps. But at the same time, the space is evolving so rapidly. Every day you see a new model coming out, and each one slightly different, slightly better. with the different kind of trade-offs. The key attribute I look for, especially in my team, is people who can learn quickly and experiment quickly. Because the space is changing so rapidly, that's going to be an asset that as a team, as a company, we can never have enough of. It is all about experimenting, learning, and applying it into a product. Another characteristic I look at, and this spans not just the AI groups, but also the application groups and the other engineering groups, is having that extra attention to the detail, especially in this generative AI space, paying attention to the input words and the output text, and really internalizing what's happening. Right? So the data analysis is a key here. We used to talk about full stack as a UI, middleware, and the database. Now I'll add, in addition to the science, actual data analysis is part of being a full stack engineer. You have to be able to understand, assimilate what's happening with both the input text as well as output text and apply it to what you're doing. Whether it is evaluating the model quality or understanding what the response is to the end user and how the user might react. So going through that data analysis is a key attribute that we look at across our entire organization, both from engineers to quality to AI scientists.
How important is the higher education? And in what particular, because I get this all the time from folks, prospective candidates that come to me and ask, hey, what kind of degree do I need? What area should I focus on? Things like that. And what I've found from the teams that I'm working with is, kind of computer science, the major computer science kind of rules the roost when it comes to seeking out that new talent. What are some other, focuses that someone coming out of college or going to college, other than computer science, that would be useful for transitioning or coming in to an engineering or AI space?
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, computer science and some of the foundational grounding helps for those engineers to pick up AI a little bit easier and to go deeper in this space. But at the same time, we're seeing tremendous benefit from adding teams of linguists because now the API is the language. Right?
That's right.
Understanding computational linguists and the grammatical structure, when to prompt and how to design these data samples, again, to avoid bias or to produce the right language, we're finding tremendous value in having computational linguists work closely with our computer scientists. That's definitely one area that is becoming more and more valuable. Another thing I'll say is, if you have the inquisitiveness and the curiosity, prompt engineering is a great place to start. As long as we have a function within the team called red teaming. They look at the model, they prompt it in 100 different ways to see how to break it, or what are the bounds of where we can trigger different kind of responses. For that one, you just need curiosity, inquisitiveness, and a little bit structured thinking to analyze the input and output. So we've seen people who are a lot more interested in that aspect also shine in what we are trying to do.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You touched on something that kind of, related back to inclusiveness and things like that. And this is a question from, a person in our audience. Do you think that AI and ChatGPT will lead to more inclusiveness and bringing in people who are disabled or underrepresented groups more into the labor force?
I can definitely see the potential. I do see companies paying extra attention because it is such a new technology, both from a pre-training point of view and how we fine-tune and how we release solutions. There is a lot more attention going into how do we become more inclusive in what we release. In fact, one of our products specifically is to address accessibility challenges. Right? So specifically for visually challenged persona. With generative AI, the text is so nice and it you can listen to it much more easily than a robotic text that's coming out of a previous generation of text generation capabilities. So instead of reading out a label on a UI, you can now read it out in a much more summarized and synthesized text. We see that. Companies, especially when the business motivation is aligned to what is good for people, to be inclusive, to provide the right kind of information, companies do invest. And as ServiceNow, that is the forefront of what we do. We're absolutely making sure we are sourcing our data, we are building our LLMs in a responsible way, highly curated content, and then we make sure when the solutions produce text, we make sure it is unbiased, it is in a I guess variety of harmful text is avoided. In fact, I'll give you an example. One of our linguists, they write guidelines. They talk about when we produce text, it cannot over rotate on a he or a she. We try to make our responses in a more neutral pronouns. Right? So it's those small things that we look at across the board in all of our products, making sure the products that we deliver are unbiased and are more inclusive.
I love it. I love it. The question came up about privacy, Rao. How are we as a company as a whole, not just ATG, but the company as a whole, how are we handling privacy when it comes to Gen AI, more specifically with these LLMs? Because, I mean, there's a lot of risk, right? So I don't know how deep you can go into this, but how are we as a company handling privacy as a whole?
Privacy has been baked into the company's DNA since day one, right? And when we deliver solutions to our customers' data is our customers' data. We do not, by default, take the data and train our models. We go through an extensive vetting, PII cleansing, and only source the data that goes into our models with extreme caution. We have very high level of governance, both in terms of how we deal with our customer data, as well as what data that goes into our model training. For us, privacy and customer data sensitivity is of the highest order.
I love it. Love it. We have a question from the audience, and this question is, what strategies can organizations employ to ensure that AI-driven changes in the workplace prioritize employee well-being and mental health? Excellent question.
Excellent question. The anxiety of automation and AI is real, right? So leaders and the companies will have to acknowledge that. Now, understanding that the change management and how we help employees incorporate that into their daily lives and not worry about it is going to be key. One of the things we talk about is, yes, it is going to make employees productive, but ultimately these are not where the generalized AI aspires to be yet. Right? So it is going to be a long way before humans can be truly replaced in what they're doing, especially in a more cognitive functions. Right? So understanding that and helping them see that these is one of the tools that is making them productive so that they can focus on the higher order value products, projects, and work is going to be key. But Yeah, acknowledging the anxiety is definitely first step, and then
Yeah.
addressing with change management.
Thank you, Rao. We have a lot of critics out there, in terms of that. Well, we have a lot of critics that are basically concerned that AI might mean the elimination of roles. And this is really a hot topic, which I talk about on my podcast, but this is a topic every single day. I feel like, because I see it on LinkedIn, I see it on different platforms, but there's a concern that AI might be eliminating roles or even departments. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is about making users or the employees more productive. Think about it this way: when calculators came about, that was a disruptive technology for people who were doing different kinds of tools for computation. Did it eliminate math teachers? No, right? So you just need to figure out how to train people. There is still a lot more science and technology and engineering or other functions that people need to accomplish with or without generative AI. It will end up being one of those disruptive technologies when it is applied, but I do not see this eliminating any of these roles. It will make them productive and more efficient and will be an enhancer rather than, I think, a eliminator of roles.
I think everybody is happy to hear that, Rao. That's always the worry, right? Like, is my job going to be taken by robots and things like that? And I think about this a lot, but kind of going back to my comment about the humanization of AI, and is it there yet? I don't think it'll ever be there, because we have really talented engineers that are kind of controlling how the AI works, right? So and that brings me to my next question. You know is there a potential for AI to create new roles? The way I look at it is, I feel like people are kind of worried about AI that's going to take jobs and things like that. But I always feel like, well, there has to be people that have to program the AI, right? That have to engineer the AI. That's why I always tell my kids, I'm like, hey, listen, when you go to college, major in computer science or mathematics, applied mathematics, what is there a potential to create new roles with AI? And does it have to be from an engineering angle? Can it be from another angle?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it is already creating new roles, right? So like I talked about prompt engineering, because the AI is so accessible now, have a new role where if you understand how to use text and input text and understand how the language works, there is a new role created already. You talked about will the roles disappear? To me, it is less about the roles disappearing, but the role may not go away, but a person who understands how to use AI will take that role. I think for me, it is about learning how to use the tool and the technology and applying it to the right solutions is where the new roles will be created.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good call out. I think because AI is getting so big, I think a lot of people are realizing, like, maybe this is like the route that I need to take, and something I seriously need to consider, from a career standpoint of getting into AI, whether that's engineering, whether it's prompt engineering. If someone is already kind of established in the field of AI, but are looking to kind of keep up with, some of the major innovations, where do you suggest they look? Aside from your practical education, going to school and things like that, where should someone like maybe myself look to learn more about AI to hopefully develop a career in that space?
I mean, there's lots going on, lots of new material being out there, from blog posts, all the way from the scientists who are working deeply in it, to applied science, to engineering, uh, and some marketing material out there, like just a wide spectrum of content out there. For me personally, I watch some of the latest model publications in science journals. Again, how we are benchmarking these, what are the new models, what are the new techniques coming out. So I personally focus on those. For somebody who's looking to apply these technologies, uh, there are lots of content out there from some of the more advanced AI newsletters. Another source is there are a few companies out there that are about open source. I'll mention Hugging Face is one. They have a little bit more tangible and applicable information, both about a new model coming out there. Those are benchmarked and published there, so you understand what are the trade-offs with these. So I look at those. And if you're looking for how do I apply this technology into a solution, into my domain, in general, I've seen all kinds of domain publishers talk about generative AI, what it means. I don't have a great source for you to look at on that one, primarily because I'm focused more on the papers and what's happening in the industry side of it.
Yeah, I think I think a great place, if you have the resources to do this, for those of you out there who are looking to kind of break in, you might want to look into going to an AI conference. I think one of the better known ones out there is Scale AI's Transform X conference, which really focuses on AI. It's a great conference to be at. I would love to go one of these days. Hopefully next year I can get to one, but there is one happening in October, late October, I believe. So that would be a great place. And there's other conferences too that focus on AI and also engineering. And so there, most of those conferences will have several tracks on AI and things like that. So that's a really great resource. For me, where I go to learn is I love looking on Google Scholar because that's where a lot of specific papers are written, within Gen AI. Maybe you'll go deeper and look into some NLP stuff like text summarization, text to code, text to workflow, those specific use cases that you can kind of look up. And you can basically get that information and learn about it on Google Scholar. And it's a very, very accessible site. So I suggest that anyone who looking to kind of further their AI knowledge, or specifically, I would go there and check that out. We have a couple. Go ahead, Rao.
That's really good one. Google Scholar, you can go as deep as you want. You can stay looking at the little bit abstracts of it. And conferences, great way to understand the products, the applications, and how it's being used. Obviously, there will be points where they're pitching their solutions, but it gives you great insight on not just the technology, but the application of it. So I love those sessions.
Excellent. Here's a good question from the audience. Do you think companies using AI are using it as a cost-cutting tool, and why?
So
why not?
I mean, depends on the company and depends on where we are applying it. Right? Ultimately, companies are looking for enhanced productivity. To do more. Cost cutting is one part of it, but I don't see that as the focus for the companies. When we talk to customers, they're absolutely looking for how can AI help, but they always start with, can it help with my employee experience? Can it help my employees be more productive? If an outcome of that is cost savings because employees are able to do more in shorter amount of time, great. Right? And can these tools provide better experience for their customers? So those are usually the first order of conversations for us, and the cost savings happens to be a secondary benefit out of that.
Yeah. So AI and its use in the workplace is kind of evolving at a rapid rate. Where do you think we'll be, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years from now, Rao? Like, where do you think we're going to be?
Yeah, the world definitely changed rapidly in the last 6 months. I would
Oh
say
my gosh, yes. Yeah.
9 months. So definitely not venture out to the 5-year horizon. But what I can tell you is what you're seeing now is, I'll call them more like a generation one, first generation products. A lot of these are using the existing scenarios, existing use cases. How can we bring generative AI to help make those even better? So that's how the first generation products are. As the technology gets mature, as teams and companies understand how to use this better in their scenarios, you'll start to see a little bit more of a second generation and a leapfrog innovations coming to bear. So I started with the analogy of autonomous cars. We still haven't seen those self-driving flying cars yet, right?
Yeah.
I expect in a couple of years we'll start to see those ideas take root, and you'll see those leapfrog innovations come to bear in the next 2 to 5 years.
Yeah. Do you think we should call like George Lucas or somebody so he can help us with the flying cars? We're there. I mean, we've had so many great advances in technology that we're already seeing the self-driving car, and you're right. I think the next frontier for us is going to be flying cars. We just need to find some really smart engineers to help us build that. It's crazy because I used to watch the Jetsons as a little kid, and a lot of the stuff that I saw, and listen, I might be dating myself here. So, the Jetsons, if you guys know, if you don't, go ahead and Google it. But a lot of the stuff that I saw as a little kid, we're experiencing now, right? Being able to, to telecommute or to be able to communicate, with FaceTime and the Zoom, how we're communicating now. And a lot of the other stuff that I saw in that cartoon, it's just really crazy how far we've come. But let's I want to I have some other questions here in the chat, and one of them is from Mary, and her question is, how is AI and ChatGPT improving or will improve the workplace?
Yep. Definitely, yeah. Good way to bring it back to the workplace story we're talking about. We look at it as AI is one part of it. You still have to do engineering around it. You still have to build experience around it. Right? So putting it all together is how these solutions help the users and the employees in a workplace. I talked about how users can get to the information that they need quickly with the right information and move on with their life. Right? So that's one way of doing that. We talked about within the workplace, when you can deliver the information that people are looking for in a precise manner, that's when the employees and the engineers and the admins or the agents are much more productive and deliver more value to the customers. For you take any specific use case, it comes down to, can we use knowledge synthesis? Can we generate a summary? Can we deliver in an automated fashion using the existing content or the corpus of data? Can we deliver the right information to the right user at the right time? AI is being applied in all of these scenarios where it can be proactive, but ultimately you still have to build an experience that delivers it to that user, whether they are on their mobile phone or they're on their chatbot, wherever they are, we need to meet those users with the information where they are at. So putting it all together is how AI, and not just AI, the experience and the engineering will need to come together to deliver that value.
I love it. I love it. What would you say are the biggest misconceptions about AI from a bad and a good perspective?
Yeah, definitely, there's a lot of talk about AI being Skynet. There is a lot of debate. Some very smart people are on both sides of the debate. To me, getting there with real AI, the Skynet type of AI, is still, I do not foresee that. But I do see it being applied in certain sense, whether it's robotics, and there are some examples of how it can be applied to various effects. And sometimes, like any technology, you can apply it for good, you can apply it for what you consider to be morally bad. Just because we can control and we can put some ring fence around how we use it doesn't mean everybody will follow the same. Right?
That's right.
So there's definitely cases when you can envision how the applications in either military or other cases, you may not morally agree with it, but that is a use case a government or somebody would want to pursue. So you definitely see those use cases and the possibilities out there. But where we are focused on is more applicable to you and me on a day-to-day life, whether it is in your home or in the workplace. We focus on how can we deliver value to those use cases. And that's where ServiceNow, all our energies are, and how we think about this, how we deliver these solutions. That's where our focus is.
I love it. I love it. Any final thoughts, Rao, on Gen AI, or even just Gen AI within ServiceNow, and kind of how we're moving forward? You know, we are destined to be the, defining enterprise software company of the 21st century, as Bill always says. Any final thoughts on our talk today, and just AI, Gen AI in general?
First, thanks to the audience for listening to us and participating in the event, Power to Fly event. Definitely interested in connecting with many of you and finding out where your career aspirations take you and how we can help you along that journey. For generative AI, the technology and the science is here to stay. Learn how you can participate in that, how you can apply this technology to whatever area of work you're into. This is here to stay. Best to make use of it and not worry about it. We are here to help and happy to connect.
Awesome. Awesome. Final thoughts for me. I just wanted to say, thank you, Rao, for joining me. It's been an honor to speak with you about Gen AI and AI in general. I want to remind the audience out there that don't forget that we do have a virtual career fair tomorrow. I specifically, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just look me up, Mike Chuidian, and you'll find me. But right now, I'm focusing on building our Gen AI team in terms of applied research science. So if there are any applied research scientists out there, would love to hear from you and love to have that conversation. But we're going to look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the virtual career fair. Rao, once again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that all of you got some useful information out of today's fireside chat with Rao. And we hope to see you again soon and see you in the chat GPTs.
Yes. Rao, and Mike, I want to thank you both so much. This was such an insightful conversation. Just a couple of points I just want to highlight for everyone before you let you go. I loved, Rao, you mentioning like the linguist's role. That's really so interesting because, Mike, you were saying, you know, folks will really be hiring so much in computer engineering and some of those roles, but I love that you are also bringing it back, Rao, to language, to writing. Like that's going to be such a core part of where this progress continues to evolve, just as you were mentioning so much about prompt engineering. We heard that from our other speaker earlier today. And Mike, I'm sure that's going to be a role you're going to be sourcing for a lot in the next few years.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Listen, I tell Rao every day, like I am so pumped up. I'm so fired up about, you know, working with him and his team and helping them build their teams. It's been so fun. I can't think of the meaningful work that I've been able to do here in the last 6-7 months. It's just been nothing short of amazing. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I just love, like, I think that Rao, you did a great job also letting us know, you know, as some of the speakers said, it's a scary time, and it's going to be scary, but it also doesn't have to be scary at the same time. Like we know that it's going to be change is scary, but at the same time, I love that you brought up the idea that, you know, calculators, everyone was afraid of calculators, right? And yet that didn't replace mathematics. In fact, I remember, you know, being told, oh, that graphic calculator, and I'm not good at math, so maybe it did affect me. But I think in general, you're so right. Like, wow, you know, technology does evolve. It can add to so much of what we're doing. And I think, as you said, we're in like the Wild West now. These are the first few years. We're going to see how this evolves, as you said, 3, 5, 10 years, and it's moving at such a fast pace. Who knows where it's going to be? We'll be at flying car territory before you know it. Well, thank you both so much. As Mike said, we have ServiceNow as part of our virtual job fair tomorrow. That starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely want you all to join that, ask some questions directly. If you liked what you heard today, you'll be able to hear even more about what ServiceNow is working on and also hear some tips about how to get your foot in the door. And ServiceNow also has a page on Power to Fly. So I suggest if everyone wants to learn more about what ServiceNow has to offer, visit that. There's lots of great resources there, and you can click follow. So when ServiceNow does more events like this one, you'll be notified right away. So Rao and Mike, thank you so much. This was amazing. And Mike, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Good job.
Thank you, everybody.